y'all gotta believe.
Yeah.
Like, if nothing else, you have to believe your brain has a potential to print the life that you want. But it starts with your thoughts. And those things that you think positive thoughts, let those thoughts cement into beliefs, and then take action. Take actions, but you have to believe, like, your voice has power. And there are literally people somewhere on this planet just waiting for your insiders, waiting for y'all to, like, become the person that gets them the transformation, that helps them to realize what they need and care enough about those people to learn the skills to reach the audience you need to help.
Yep.
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video.
Welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Listen, a lot of times people are trying to figure out how they can make ends meet. They have a message, they have some words, they want to speak, but they don't know how to speak their way to cash. Well, when Ashley speaks, crowds listen. So much so that she was asked to help other speakers do the same. Through Speak Your Way to Cash, her speaking business, Ashley coaches and trains emerging speakers on how to kickstart their speaking business to start speaking their way to cash. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Miss Ashley Kirkwood.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, blessed. I'm excited about this interview because, for me, after leaving a successful 6-figure job working as a banker, I decided to become an author, to write books. But my main goal in writing the books was so that way I could get people to pay me to be a speaker. Right? And for a while, my speaking career, I was doing okay, but at some point I was like, man, like I couldn't do it, right? Because I couldn't find the gigs that were paying me enough, and I had to eventually go back to work and then figure something else out in order to be a full entrepreneur. But for you, you've been teaching people how to make 6-7 figures as a speaker, how to land big contracts. And so I'm curious, I know a lot of my insiders are curious as to how can they speak their way to cash. So this is gonna be a phenomenal episode. Make sure y'all have your pen, your paper, write some stuff down. But for those who don't know, who is Ashley Kirkwood?
Man, I am an educator.
Yes.
So I am I'm a lawyer by trade. So I started my professional career as a trial attorney, a federal trial attorney.
Wow.
So there's state court and there's federal court. In federal court, y'all know, like, state court judges are dealing with, like, evictions, mortgages, state issues. But federal court, that's like the United States president is the president over the whole United States. Yeah. So when we go to federal court, that's kind of what that is. So I was a federal court lawyer, a trial lawyer, and I loved the trial, but that was only 2% of what I did. Wow. And I had to start analyzing what was it that I loved about being a lawyer, and it was the speaking. It was the changing the hearts and minds. And I then started to figure out how can I do more of that and less of the other stuff. So that's what brought me to being a professional speaker and an author, and then eventually to train other speakers to do the same.
Wow, I love it. And, talk to me about sort of the pitfalls that, matter of fact, before we even get to the pitfalls, right? Give me the who is a speaker? Like, who is qualified to get paid as a speaker?
People that have a message that can transform someone else's life. So I think everyone has a message, right? And I think everyone's a speaker. Like, we communicate, everyone communicates differently. But if you want to get paid for it, then that message has to transform the lives of your audience. Because unfortunately, people don't pay us because we cute. They don't pay us because they like us. They pay us because of what we can do for them. So if you have something that you've mastered in your own life, a soft skill or a hard skill, then you can package that up and position it and charge for that transformation that you provide.
Wow, I love it. And so now to the pitfalls, right? When somebody who has a message, who says, you know what, I want to transform lives, I want to get on stage, I want to speak, what are some of the pitfalls or the biggest mistakes that a newbie or beginning speaker would do?
So I'll tell you what I did. Because my first speech, I made $100. Like $100. A whole $100. And then they tipped me $75. Because they were like, yo, she dope. Let's throw in a 75. And what's crazy is, Ash, I was excited about it.
Right.
Like, literally, I was like, yo, I got paid to do something that is easy for me.
Yeah.
And it was a church, y'all. My dad's a pastor, so shout out to all the pastors. But it was a church.
Yeah.
That was the first place that paid me to speak. But I charged that $100, even though I was a lawyer, even though I was, I'd been speaking for years in pulpits all over and in schools and all that stuff. And I charged that rate because I felt if it's easy, it must not be valuable.
Ooh.
Right? And so the biggest mistake that I see people make is they equate easy with invaluable.
Wow, that's good.
And so they charge for the lack of value that they perceive, not the value that their clients get.
Yeah.
So we charge out of our own pocketbooks. So you're like, well, I mean, it's, I'm gonna go to church, I'm speaking, it's $100. Like, why? Like, that's not much. And then you feel guilty, and I felt guilty for charging that. I was like, I don't want to hurt them, you know what I mean? So like, I think that's the biggest mistake new speakers make is they don't charge for the value that their clients see.
Yeah.
They charge for what they don't perceive value in, which is their voice, because we use it every day.
Yeah. And so how do you get to that space where you start to see the value in I mean, I know for me, I mean, you said you got paid $100. I remember I was doing my speeches for free.
Right.
My first few speeches, I was going in and hoping, like I said, I would go in and I would say, all right, I'm gonna do this bomb speech, and I hope that they like me so much that they'll bring me back and potentially pay me. So I was actually up front giving them the best of me, hoping that they'll have me to come back. And they did have me come back, but they weren't trying to pay me. They like, hey, you ain't charging before, so why I'm gonna pay you now, right? So how does somebody get to that space of worthiness or seeing the value in what their message is?
I would say step one is to divorce your rate from your worth. So a lot of people, like, I hear this all the time, like, you gonna pay me my worth. You ain't never paying me my worth. I am invaluable as a person.
Wow.
So when you divorce your rate from your worth, then you can start saying, okay, this isn't about me personally.
Yeah.
This is about the transformation. So then it's an analysis of what value are they getting from this. So for instance, let's say, you have written books. You have built your brand on writing books. So you want to go out and help other executives write a brand building book. So now to you've written so many books, Ash, that it may be easy.
Yeah.
But for an executive who doesn't have a book, if he or she can write that book and get it in front of, let's say, 1,000 other executives, that could be worth millions upon millions of dollars to them.
Yeah.
So when you see it from their vantage point, then you price for that. So you may charge $150, $200K to teach a big company how their executives can write a brand building book. And you charge for that value.
Right.
Maybe it's a percentage of all of those executives' salaries.
Yeah.
Because that could be how a company could see the value. Like, what if there's all these ways that you can see it, but you have to divorce your worth from your rate. And you charge your rate based on the transformation that you give to others and see it from their perspective.
Wow.
So that is a big mindset shift that has to be made first. And I think everything comes from the mind.
Yeah.
So I saw a post on Facebook that was like, everything isn't mindset. And I was like, everything is literally mindset.
Exactly, right.
Like nothing on this earth exists without someone first having a thought.
Right,
and yet here you are invalidating and undervaluing your thoughts.
Yeah.
But every speech I wrote came from my mind.
Right.
I'm charging for my thoughts.
Right.
But if you don't find value in your thoughts, then you charge pennies for yours. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like our thoughts are everything.
Right.
So you have to get that mindset shift from like, if someone rejects me, they're not rejecting me, they're rejecting my offer.
Yes.
So now I'm not scared.
Right.
I'm not scared about charging $50K for a speech. I'm not scared about charging $25K because I know like they're not rejecting me, they're rejecting my offer.
Yes.
So how do you get better at making offers that's how you're gonna get better at getting your rate. And then you get rejected a little bit less.
Yeah.
But that fear of rejection is why people don't go after big companies.
Yeah.
I've had people say, yo, I only went to high school. How can I get paid to speak by a college?
Yeah.
Like, I can't, I've never worked in corporate. How could a corporation pay me?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you get people results, right?
Yeah.
Then you can help them.
Wow.
Your thoughts are still valuable, regardless of your credentials or your accolades. Like that stuff is extra, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
But not everyone who graduates with a PhD can get somebody a transformation.
Right.
The same way not everyone needs a PhD to get someone a transformation.
Yeah.
So the first step is like figuring out how valuable your thoughts are,
Yeah.
and then packaging it and positioning it so that other people can see how valuable your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I love that. And, you know, what was that transition like for you, right? Because I talked about, you know, having a 6-figure job, jumping into entrepreneurship, not fully understanding entrepreneurship, so had to go back to work and then do it a second time. What was that transition like for you?
It was, so
Because you had a 6-figure job.
so I was at around $300,000 as a federal attorney.
Wow.
And I love.
You left that? Like you left?
I left that.
Wow.
I had to call my husband first.
I was about to say.
Because we was like, we did not do the whole like live way beneath your means.
Yeah.
Like we was like traveling,
Yeah.
like, oh, what it is, what country we in for Christmas? You know what I mean? Like it was lit. It was so good. And so when I decided to leave, first I had to figure out, because it was two things for me, Ash. It was one, the money.
Yeah.
I liked making the money. People lie about that. Like, it's not about the money. I was a private lawyer. It was only about the money. Like, I wasn't helping people necessarily. I did some pro bono civil rights work, but the core of what I did was for profit. It was representing big companies.
Yeah.
So I liked the money, but then the other part of it was I felt that brand validated me, especially as a Black woman, because I was the only one. I was the only one in litigation.
Yeah.
Everyone, I would walk into work, the security professionals, they were all Black. People who worked in the kitchen, mainly Black.
Yeah.
Every attorney, predominantly white, and I was the only Black woman in the litigation department.
Wow.
Like, so for me, I felt a sense of, I need to do this to show them that we as a people could be here and deserve to be here.
Yeah.
So I was carrying all these extra burdens. So it wasn't just the money for me, it was like the validation too.
Yeah.
And so when I left, I felt like, oh, I am now worth less because I don't have that company at my back. Like, I can't say I work at this huge firm. I don't have that to like we couldn't get reservations certain places. I'd be like, no, I work at, they'd be like, oh, Mrs. Kirkwood, write this. Like, it was one of those joints, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, how could I leave that? Like the power, how would I leave that? And so what happened was I had an issue with one of my direct reports. And she was making me feel bad, like I was the only Black woman. And I just asked her, like, why is it that there's never been a sister in this position longer than a year?
Yeah.
And after that, they were like, we calling HR, like she's tripping, like this is ridiculous. And so I went home to my husband and I looked him in his eyes and I was like, babe, I don't like having to beg people who don't look like me for our check.
Wow.
Like, if I do anything wrong, if I say anything that they don't like, I'm done.
Right.
You know? So I'm like, I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
I thought it was power, but I really was powerless. All of my money was tied up into one organization.
Yeah.
So I was like, we can't be in this position. I want to leave.
Yeah.
And he was like, whatever you want to do, I'm down for. But what he said specifically was, you got 6 months to make a profit and a year to make it sustainable. And after that, I'll support whatever, like I'll hold it down from there.
Yeah.
And I basically quit. Like, I packed up in the middle of the night, called that good friend, the friend who like down for whatever.
Right.
I got one of them friends, like I called him, I was like, hey, G, Chris is out of town. I need to get all my stuff out this office because I'm quitting tomorrow and I don't want them playing no games. corporations don't play.
100%, yeah.
They do not play, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me get, so we midnight got all my stuff out the office and I quit and I just left and I had 0 clients and 0 prospects.
Yeah.
But I knew how to sell. Because before law school, I worked an inside sales job doing cold calling.
Yep.
So I made hundreds of calls every single day, got rejected 95 plus times a day, and would make some sales off the 5 people who would say yes. So I was like, if nothing else, I can hit the phones.
Yeah.
And while in corporate, I had a book that I wrote called The Law School Hustle, teaching how I went from almost failing out of undergrad to graduating top of my class at Northwestern.
Nice.
I developed the system for it, wrote the book, and I just wrote the book to help. I didn't think the book was gonna be my ticket out.
Yeah.
But it became my ticket out and it was urgent. So left that job, hired an intern for free because I didn't have no clients at this point, And she cold called all the law schools nationwide and started asking them, would they buy 100 to 200 copies of my book, and I would come in and speak. And so that's how I started.
Yo, I know y'all watching this episode right now, but I need y'all to sign up for the 5-day Path to Prosperity Challenge with me, Storm Leroy, Marvin Mitchell.
We're teaching you secrets of the wealthy, you all. We're teaching you how to become your own bank through life insurance. We're teaching you real estate. We're teaching you how to become an author and generate 15 streams of income. If you're looking to take your wealth to the next generation and be a generational curse breaker, this is your opportunity. This is your chance.
Now, there are 3 levels of admission. There's the general, there's VIP, and there's platinum. I need to make sure for all my premium people, I see you inside that VIP or that platinum room. So now I need you to go to mypath2prosperity.com. I repeat, mypath2prosperity.com. Sign up. We'll see you guys in a 5-day challenge. And remember to always seek knowledge. Peace.
Speaking, I was bulk selling books, traveling from law school to law school, and it was tough. And I did not like that. It was a rush at first, you know, I mean, because you've done the gig. So like, at first it's cool, like being on planes, being like, selfie, I'm hitting another stage. Like speakers would be bragging like 100 stages. Now I'd be like, ooh, that look horrible. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, this is weird. I'm doing all this. And I looked successful, but my bank account looked broke. Like I looked successful. Like people were like bigging me up, like, oh, this is so great, you know? And I was like, yo, everyone thinks I'm winning and I'm broke. Like, it sucked. Like, I went from 300K, made a big announcement about leaving, and I was looking at my bank account, and every 2 weeks, nothing was coming in that joint. It was crazy. I was like, yo, this is bad. But then I was smart. So, you know, smart. So me being smart, I'm thinking like, oh, this entrepreneurship stuff, like I'm smart. Like I just go online, I tell them, hello, I am smart, hire me. What up, you know? And they were like, chick, we don't know you. Like where your content, where your, and I'm like, these internet people want me to take pretty pictures. They want me to have a nice house. I was like, Chris, they're making decisions based off all the wrong things. But this is what you do on the internet. I didn't know. I didn't know y'all needed all of this. I didn't know I had to come to the vault. I didn't know. So people didn't care about what I knew. They cared about how I looked. And that was bad because for years I built my career on what I knew. So in the internet, I thought that y'all cared about what I knew. No, they didn't care about that. So I was like, okay, they don't care about what I know. So what do? I had to get good at marketing. And this is the thing. There's someone watching this right now who wants to speak. And I get that because I like speaking. But the truth is, if you want to speak, you have to sell. In every industry, the glamorous thing isn't what you built the business on. So like, I love trials. But I didn't like it because I realized I'm a trial lawyer. I love that part. Crushed the stage. Like I was giving them drama in the courtroom. However, 95% of my time, I was in an office, alone, working 20 hours a day, reading, writing, and preparing. I thought that was what would, you know, like I thought that the trial was the thing, but all the great lawyers know that reading is the thing. Writing is the thing. The boring stuff is what you need to be great. So if you want to speak, that's amazing. But what you really have to get great at, in addition to being a great speaker, is selling, is marketing, is convincing people that you're the right choice. And as crazy as it is that you can know all this stuff and people won't pay you for it, if you care enough about people's results, then what you have to do is sell to them the way they buy. Not the way you think they should buy. Sell to them the way you buy. And for a while, my bank account looked real ugly because I was too proud to sell to people the way they buy. I was selling to people the way I buy. So I buy off of like actual substance. I was like, I want credentials. I want you to have experience. I want you to have results. And so I like looking at your bio and reading and doing all the things. And a good mentor of mine was like, Ashley, that's cool, but like you not buying from you. So how do your people buy? What do they need? And he was, you know, I had to start caring enough about people's results to sell to them in a way that they buy. So they needed to see, sometimes they need to see a pretty picture, cool. Sometimes they need to see like whatever people needed, because I care so much about our mission as a company that if it requires me to get out of my comfort zone to sell to you the way you buy, I'm willing to do that. But that mindset shift started, it helped me to then realize, okay, I have to be excellent at selling. I have to be excellent at marketing as a way of serving the people I'm called to serve. So like literally, that was the big shift for me, is not just focusing on the stage, but focusing on selling. And then I realized My husband actually told me this. He was like, Ashley, you've always made your money from corporations. That doesn't have to stop now. Because I thought, okay, well, I'm not at a big company. You know, I need to just I was selling like ebooks, which I didn't have an audience. So like, shout out to all y'all who make millions on ebooks. God bless your ministry. Not my ministry. So I had like 10 followers trying to sell a $2 ebook. They were like, at the end of the month, my husband was like, Ashley, why are you talking to people on the internet about this ebook? This is not gonna work. Because I didn't have the audience and I didn't know all of the elements of internet marketing yet. And so I was doing all the wrong things. So what I had to do was switch the way that I sold. And start looking at corporations and stop going from gig to gig to gig to look like I had a lot of gigs. And start going after large contracts. So I totally stopped selling companies one speech. I only sold them long-term packages, and I called them quarterly conversations. And I was like, hey, I'm only talking to companies that are willing to have quarterly conversations with me. So if you are someone who just needs a one-off solution for your people and you don't care about their sustained growth, then we don't have availability for you right now. And they were like, well, I care about the sustained growth, because it's all about the wording. They're like, well, dang, she coming for me. So now they're like, okay, well, maybe we should get the 3 workshops. And I was like, yeah, well, that'll be $75,000 because I'm going to do the workshop live, and then I'm going to give you a 30-day license, because you have people in other countries, they can't do it on our time zone, so you need a license for that. And they were like, oh, well, other speakers give it away for free. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because it's a license. Like, I can't give you a license for free. I can't do work that I'm not paid for. You only paid me to show up live, so you only get to enjoy it live. And we did that. Our whole business is like that. Even our coaching programs, everything is, you get it, you have a live fee, and then you pay a license for everything else. And that changed the game for me. But I had to really think about, how am I gonna sell? How can I really, really serve people? And what do I need to get proficient at in order to serve them well?
Wow, that's spicy though, right? Because when you say quarterly packages or selling to big corporations as a bundle, you know, that, you know, again, like, I mean, you know, full transparency, when I said that's what I was going to, you know, speaking engagements and saying, hey, pay me, even if they paid me once, I'm hoping that they, you know, I do the speech, they pay me, and then they'll have me come back over and over. But what you're saying is, don't even hope. Hope ain't even a plan. We're not even playing that hope business. We're not even in the hope business. I don't even, if you don't see my value to book me for multiple times, then I don't even want it.
Yeah, because, you know, Dan Kennedy, I'm reading one of his books. He has a lot of good books, but I'm reading one of Dan Kennedy's books, and he talks about, like, hope is not a business strategy. And that really hit me because what a lot of people do is they sell one thing, and they don't foreshadow for the client how you can really transform the organization. So it's like, hey, I'll come in and do a speech. And then a lot of my speakers will say, well, Ashley, they only asked me for this. And I was like, yeah, but if I go to the doctor and I ask him to check out my knee, but he sees other issues that he can fix, I'm mad at him if he does not tell me about all the ways that he can help me. But I don't even know what's wrong with me because I didn't go to medical school. So if you're saying that you're the expert in whatever you're the expert in, your clients don't even know what they need. They know what they think they need, but you know what they need to really be transformed because you've mastered that. It's not even their job to know what they need. And so the only way you can serve them and care for them is by showing them all the ways you can help them strategically so that they're not making the wrong decision.
Wow, no, that's pretty good. And so, can anybody do this though? Like really, right? Somebody right now, you know, is like if they're not excited, I'm excited.
Right.
They're excited. They're hearing this. This makes a lot of sense. It really, because to be able to get a $75,000, you know what a $75,000 would do for somebody, like the everyday person who is trying to get free of their 9-to-5. They get one client to pay them $75,000. That's time freedom. That's enough freedom for them to, you know, to hang out with their family, their friends. Like that $75,000 with one client is a big deal. And then that time gives them other opportunity to go out to get other clients, and now they could like blow out, right, their income. But can anybody do this for real?
That is up to their belief. Because I know that it's popular to just say like anyone can do it no matter what. But it's like there are some things you have to learn. There are some things you have to master, but most importantly, you have to know who you are. Because once you know who you are, you can start identifying what you're great at.
Yeah.
So you need an expertise, but I do believe that everyone has either a soft skill or a hard skill that they've mastered that they can show other people if they're willing to really master a skill, right? So I would say like that is a requirement. You have to know what they're getting for it.
Yeah.
This isn't a lick. It's not like a, hey, I'm gonna go to Coca-Cola, hey, wire me, like that. It's not a quick fix thing.
Yeah.
You have to really be able to articulate your value. If you can do that, you can do this.
Yeah.
And honestly, all you need to know now is like, what do I think I'm good at? Because we can help you package and position your value. And what I find is a lot of people, they undervalue themselves. Because it's whatever comes innately to you.
Yeah.
An exercise that you can do, anyone can do this exercise. Go on Facebook, ask people. It's something we talk about in the Speak Your Way to Cash book. Just make a post. What 3 words come to mind when you think of me? And for a lot of people, it'll be like, man, you're a really good listener. You're a really good friend. You're really empathetic. You are, you're an advocate for other people. All of those skills are things you can get paid to speak on. There are over 1,000 topics that corporations and colleges and associations and conferences pay people to speak on every single day. And it could be a soft skill. Like our signature speech, The Currency of Confidence, it's literally it's our framework. It's all about growing confidence, mindset, beliefs, and actions. I'm not teaching arithmetic or algebra or how to code. Like, it's literally confidence. Because that's something that was instilled in me from a young age. MBA.
Hey.
Like, we teach you how to get your MBA in confidence.
Nice.
Like, that's it. Like, your mindset becomes your beliefs. Your beliefs inform every single action you take in the world.
Yeah.
So that's the formula. And we go and teach that. It's simple. My husband, empathy, listening. Like, these are things people get paid to speak on. I have a client, she landed a $25,000 contract to teach people how to play nice at work.
Wow.
Play nice.
Yeah.
It's like a virtual thing she's doing. You know what I mean? So it's like, this stuff doesn't have to be rocket science.
Yeah.
There's something you do every day that you can package and position for an organization.
Yeah. No, I love that, and I love that you talk about your clients and your program, because I think that being able to not only have you been able to do it, but you've been able to teach other people how to also package their expertise, how to pitch their way to cash.
Yep.
One of the things that I, I'm a big fan of. Everybody who watches this show knows that I'm a big fan of the challenge model, right?
Yeah.
And so it's no secret. I'm very upfront with our viewers, and the reason why I love the challenge model is because during the pandemic, grew a bunch of internet gurus, right? So a lot of people built their business during the pandemic. Everybody was home. Everybody became a guru. Everybody was selling, whether it was a course, whether it was something like this internet game became this thing, this cash cow for a lot of people. And so people were falling for it, right? People would be on a webinar for an hour, and then buy a $3,000 course. If you do it enough times, I know people who've made millions of dollars from that model. People who were putting a lot of money in Facebook and YouTube ads, and people were falling for it, and they buy these courses and there's nothing. But with the challenge model, you really cannot fake 5 days,
right?
Can't fake that, right? Like
that's tough.
Like by day 1 or 2, you're gonna know if this person is full of ish or not, right?
Yep.
And so I tell my insiders, before you buy anything from anybody, I mean, if you know the person, if you've been following them, if you done your research and you're like, nah, this person's a real deal, and all right, I'm gonna buy their product or service because it's gonna help me do something, then great. But if you are somebody who you've just heard of this person says that they have the solution for you, do not just automatically just say, hey, I'm gonna, buy their, $10,000 program, $50,000 program, $100,000 program.
Yeah.
Like I know people who spent a lot of money with somebody they didn't spend time with. So I say, spend 5 days with them, right?
Yeah.
Spend 5 days, learn feel their energy, learn, see if they're going to be able to teach you in 5 days. And if they teach you in 5 days and you're satisfied and you want to take the opportunity to continue to work with them, then take their offer, whatever they're offering on the back end. And so my insiders know that. So you have a 5-day challenge, right, where people can spend 5 days with you and you teach them how to land six-figure corporate gigs. Talk to me about your challenge.
Yeah, so the challenge, the Pitch Your Way to Cash challenge, teaches you how to pitch.
Yeah.
So during this challenge, you're gonna learn like the mindset you need to pitch. Because I'm telling you, like you know that it's not fluffy, but it sounds fluffy. So it's like mindset, but like literally, you got to get in the right mindset when you go into these corporations, right? It can feel a little bit more transactional, but there's some relationship involved. So day one is mindset. What is the mindset you need to have before pitching? Then we talk about who to target, how to find your wealthy audience. You cannot sell a large package to someone with small pockets. That does not make sense. So how do you find your wealthy audience? And then from there, how to pitch via LinkedIn. So we go into LinkedIn because it goes down in the LinkedIn DMs. I know y'all think of Instagram, Facebook, every now and then, but
that's the club. Like
yeah.
Instagram's the club. Like you want to go party and go to different clubs, and you go to Instagram. But if you want the country club, if you want where people are have the deep pockets, that's the golf course.
You gotta go on LinkedIn. So how to pitch on LinkedIn, and then we talk about how to pitch via email. And then if you get our VIP ticket, we actually give you, I think it's up to like 10 or 15 pitches that you can send during the challenge.
Wow.
And every night you'll be sending pitches. So if you stick with the challenge, our promise to you is if you do the homework every night, you will be pitching for these contracts. You will start making the relationship so you can start landing paid contracts. And that is what is important. Like, because once you start pitching and you get a little bit of that rejection, but we with you when you get in the rejection, we can tell you what to do next. And we've had people land contracts by doing the 5-day challenge. And so they may not be like the 6-figure contract, but if you do a 5-day challenge and you paid nothing or $100 for it and land an extra $3 to $5 grand that week, you gonna be happy. So literally we've had people land some contracts during the Pitch Your Way to Cash challenge, and we're gonna walk you through that process, and you get to see if you like my learnings, my teaching style. Because to your point, every coach isn't for everyone. And one thing I'll never do is I will never sell someone on me if I'm not for them. Like, I just don't believe in that. Like, there's more than enough great people to go around. So we want to make sure that it's the right fit on both sides. And as a sales principle, a lot of people think selling means like I'm trying to get something from you. But the fact of the matter is, sales is a two-way conversation. Everyone doesn't have the opportunity to buy from me either.
That's a bar.
Like, it goes both ways.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And so the reason I got out of that corporate job where they were treating me wrong, discriminating, all that stuff was because I only had one client, my job. So I had to sell to them. I had to make sure I showed up every day to work for them. They were mad at me. I couldn't just leave without my income stopping. But what we teach is how to diversify your client base so that no one client owns you either. Because that freedom piece is real critical for me and the people that look like me that I'm serving. Like, we can't be caught up in that way. So we'll make sure it's a good fit on both sides, and then you'll be off to the races, be pitching, you'll develop a new skill set. And if you learn to sell, you'll never be broke a day in your life.
I love that. And I want to go back to that, though, too. Saying that not everybody has the opportunity to work with you. And my entrepreneurs out there, I need you to have that level of mindset. Don't ever be so desperate, for lack of better words, that you're willing to take all money, because all money is not good money. I've had situations where, as an entrepreneur, there's an opportunity to get a sale, and for something in my gut told me it wasn't right? But I still did it anyway. I'm like, nah, this is gonna be X amount of money or whatever the case may be. And because I, went against my gut, this person wound up being a headache. They wound up not, being the best client. They wind up being annoying. They wind up messing my energy up, which also long-term wise messes up my money, because now I'm not showing up for my other clients, right?
Because you're drained.
Because I'm drained. And so now, I'm at that space where, I'm accepting clients, and I'm not giving them the right thing. But when you understand who you are, you understand your value, you understand that all money isn't good money. I turn down, like, I promise you, people come to me all the time wanting to do business, and I turn down business all the time because I understand that, it's not about the money.
No.
Are we energetically aligned? Are you a right fit, right? Even for my community. Which is one of the things that, I love about the 5-day challenge as well, because not only am I spending 5 days, or you're spending 5 days with me, I'm spending 5 days with you. And so, most likely if people do the VIP, those conversations, the people who are always, in the comments, things of that nature, gets to tell me, what your energy is.
Yes.
And now when I make my offer and want you to get into my bigger group, do you fit the environment?
Yeah.
Right?
Are you a culture fit?
Exactly.
And if you're doing community building right, your community will tell you who's not a good fit. So like the Speaker Rated Cash fam, like we talk. I be like, look, y'all see anything crazy?
Yeah.
You hit us in the DMs. You let us know, because like they want to protect their space too.
Yeah.
And I think for me, because I was in an unsafe work environment when I was in corporate, I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel seen, I didn't feel heard.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I'm creating a community of clients that feel safe, seen, and heard. And so if someone comes in that is being negative or putting people down, or we've had that happen, Ash. Like I've done events and someone was talking about the way another lady was dressed at my event. And this lady, like literally, she had just come from work to the event.
Yeah.
And she was like, one of the speakers was clowning me for how I dressed, so I didn't want to come back to your event. And I was like, which speech? This was like the day before my next event. And I was like, well, which speaker is it? She told me, I called that speaker, and I was like, you're no longer speaking at my event.
Wow.
I was like, you cannot do that to my people.
Yeah.
Who cares how this lady's dressed? She's coming to learn.
Right.
But it's a culture thing. So for me, it has to be about substance.
Yeah.
And and I'm willing to walk away from money even if it costs me. I'm willing to pay you to leave sometimes.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, lawyers, sometimes you gotta settle stuff, pay people to get out. Like I'm willing, I know the value of paying some folks to get out my way.
Absolutely.
Like I'm willing to pay you to leave. And so that's important, but it's the energy of like, I'm powerful. I'm powerful whether someone else sees it or not.
Yeah.
Like this outlet over here, if we were to take the energy out of it, like if we were to unplug the lights, that outlet would still hold power. It's just not being used right now.
That's a bar.
And so like so many people are selling like they're not powerful. Like, oh, well, my bank account, I only got, but I ain't hit 8 figures yet. So I can't go in that room with them because they got 8 figures and they got this. I'm like, oh, no, bro, that bank account don't make you powerful.
Right.
You're powerful, and thus the bank account goes up when you realize your power. So I always tell my people, never leave your power seat. Don't leave your power seat. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
I've had companies want me to change my contract after I've signed it. We just had a company. Oh, Ashley, you can't say this, you can't say that. We don't want you talking about this, but we already had a signed contract. I was like, well, the terms of the contract say I can say what I want.
Right.
So, we could just end this now. But by the way, I'm not speaking, but you got to pay me.
Right.
Because you signed an agreement. A large corporation, Fortune 100 company, wrote me my check. I never had to show up. 5-figure deal.
Wow.
5-figure deal.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want me to go on record as saying that I had spoken there. But my contract, which they signed my contract. They were like, well, normally we don't sign people's contracts. Like normally you would sign our contract. I was like, I don't care what happens normally. This time your people sign my contract.
Right. Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Right.
Now, will I ever be able to work with them again? No, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to. There's there's 7 billion people on the planet.
Right.
You mad because one ain't acting right?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like for everyone watching this, you are powerful whether you've been using your power or not.
Wow.
You are powerful. And so you got to sell from that place of power. You have to package from that place of power, and you have to create your offer from the place of, man, I'm powerful. How is the world experiencing my power right now that maybe I'm not realizing?
Wow.
Sell that.
Wow.
Talk about that.
Wow. Look, y'all need to comment in the chat, give some fire emojis, something, because I'm feeling this. I know you feeling that. I know you felt that. Put a fire sign in the chat. Stop playing with her. Put some respect on her name. Look, spend 5 days. She's gonna help you. Look, I'm telling you, she just fixed my whole life. Right? You flash out to Chris, man. You mentioned your husband.
Yes.
And, being able to, having that support system, that rah-da-da, that person that's always there with you. He is not only your husband, not only do you guys have, beautiful child together, but also your friend, also your business partner.
Yeah.
You guys spend a lot, we have a mastermind together. Like we see each other a lot. You guys are always together.
Always.
Talk about that dynamic of family business. Being able to run a business with your partner.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal for me because I always have said, like, I feel like I hear God through my husband at times.
Yeah.
And there were times in my life where I really didn't listen to my husband. Like, so wives.
Wait, say that again.
There were times. There were times. There were like.
Roll on.
I knew you'd love this one.
Bring up selector. Slow that down. Say that one more time. Wives,
Yeah.
say it one more time.
You're gonna get me in trouble. The women like, I was joining the challenge, but not for this. Like, no, so like literally there were times where I thought I knew more than my husband because I'm a lawyer and he would give me advice about like what I was doing in my career.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd be like, sisters, we could be, y'all know how we could be sometimes.
Yeah.
So I would be like, well, babe, you're not in law. Like, you don't understand. You don't understand how this works. And literally every time I would do that, something bad would happen about that situation that he had given me advice on. And I was like, yo, I think I could hear, like, I think I'm hearing God through my husband.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be something that he would naturally know about, but it would be the exact answer that I needed. And the Bible talks about two becoming one. And so I was like, man, this is a blessing, but I've been abandoning my blessing by not listening to him.
Yeah.
And honest, like that's how I was. And so when he started giving me business advice, I was like, okay, this is nice. But he was true 9-to-5er, like very committed to the 9-to-5 life. And so I wouldn't listen at first. And I started listening. I was like, I made more money. And he'd be like, stop talking to them people. They don't got no money. I'd be like, what? I was like, those are my people. Like he's like, they're gassing you. They may give you some likes, but they're not paying you. Like, I see the accounts. I'm like, okay. So I was like, he's like, you need to switch your audience. And then I'd make a little bit more money. So I was like, man, I need to go into business with him. Like, this dude is on to something. Yeah. So my husband and I, a year and a half ago, now, shout out to Lamar, okay? Because shout out to Lamar, because I went
actually a Inside the Vault alumni as well.
Yes, for sure. So I went to a TSP event, and I saw all these Black millionaire couples working together. And I called my husband crying, and I was like, babe, I just saw these Black millionaires working together. I was like, we need to work together. Now he at work, so he like, babe, like, I don't know what you're doing in Atlanta, but you got to get home. Like, all right, talk to me later. Like, cause I can't even understand what you're saying. Yeah. And I prayed that night, like, God, I want to work with my husband. Like, I want me and my husband to build $1 million business. Yeah. And I've had some success in business before working with him. Our companies combined did over $1 million in sales, but not the business that I wanted. Like, the Speak Your Way to Cash is the business that I wanted. And when he joined the business, he started doing operations, started doing sales. We went from having like high turnover with employees to we have not had a single person, we didn't have anyone quit for like a year and a half time. Wow. And we're 100% virtual. Yeah. Like we retained everyone when he started. Yeah. You wanna know why? Because he's empathetic. I'm like, I'm kind of straight to the point, hardcore, like, let's go. Yeah. He's like, okay, well, did you know that their holiday in their country, this is what needs to happen for them to feel? And I was like, never knew that. He's like, they've been here 7 months. So he really put those systems in place, and then he started doing sales calls. And for anyone who's an introvert, the introvert's advantage is empathy. At least it is his, right? And listening. So he was able to increase our coaching call conversions because he's an introvert. And while I struggled to really get the business that I loved to well over $1 million alone, when he joined the company, we did over $1 million in sales. Wow. Like in cash collected, over $1 million in sales, but in cash collected in one company. Whereas I was doing all these companies to make this money, he joins, I have to do one thing, over $1 million in cash. We're gonna keep growing the business. And it's been easy, it's been a blessing. And there are some challenges to working with your partner. I will not be like everything's perfect in rainbows. But overall, it allows our daughter to see us loving each other, growing a business and loving our community. We've gotten way more client results since he's joined. Our clients are making more money than ever since he's joined the business. And our relationship is stronger than ever because when you build with someone, it's like, that's unbreakable. 100%. Like, can't nobody come and tell me that we ain't got each other's back. We went from living in a $500 a month apartment together to doing over $1 million in sales, moving into a house that we love. Like, we did that together, and that has really solidified our bond. We've been married over 10 years. Nice. So it's a blessing. Yeah,
no, I love it. Same, it's funny because, my wife and I work together as well. Honestly, she almost sounds like your husband because like she's the one who added the operations and really like our business skyrocketed, reached the $1 million mark as well by her. But the only difference, I've been telling her for like 10 years, like, yo, I need you in this business. Right. But now she got it. But, I agree though. I think that there is something special to be working with your partner, and one of the great, we have 2 kids, a 14-year-old, 7-year-old, we're able to show our kids us working together,
Yep.
us loving each other.
Yep.
You know, we travel with the kids,
Yep.
so now the kids get to travel. So anytime we have a business, you know, anything
Yep.
we're doing with business, like, you know, we had a mastermind in Cancun. We took the kids, we did the mastermind, and then we stayed an extra few days to enjoy Cancun. Then we went to Peru, and then we, you know, so
Yep.
we do things together with the kids because we're in business together.
Yep.
So it's a wonderful thing. What advice would you give to any couple or any entrepreneur who's trying to, number one, not only just work with their partner, forget working with their partner, getting their partner on the same page, because that is that's the tough part.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
how like what advice would you give to anybody who's just at least just getting their partner on the same page as them?
Show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. Because I would come to my husband, babe, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. But he saw me selling them little ebooks.
Wow.
He saw that bank account looking crazy.
Yeah.
And he was like, how is this going to work?
Yeah.
And I thought this was me. I remember all the feels. Like,
Yeah.
I remember feeling like my husband isn't supporting me, when in reality, he was protecting me. Because I didn't know enough about the business
Wow.
or about sales or marketing the business for the business to sustain both of our incomes.
Yeah.
So what looked like a lack of support was protection. He provided health insurance. And what's interesting is I ended up getting sick at one point. It was his health insurance that sustained us.
Wow.
When I had my daughter, you know, we had health insurance, all those doctor's visits and everything that we had to do in the pandemic. So it looked like lack of support, but it was really protection. And what he was doing was watching to see if I would stick with something. Because my husband, we got married after 6 months of dating, no wedding, paid $750 for like the marriage license, and was like, oh, this it?
Yeah.
Like, why you got to do like all that other stuff? I thought it was gonna be more, but it was like $750, little stamp. They were like, cool, y'all married. And so we were broke when we got married. We didn't have any money, but our mindset was right. We had a growth mindset, but a bank account that wasn't growing the way it needed to grow.
Right.
So, and we were 22 and 23, and he saw me go from job to job. He saw me start things and stop. He saw me start a business and it failed.
Yeah.
He saw me really committed to something for 3 months and not last.
Yeah.
So he knew the real me. People online know the image that I portray, but he knows what makes me mad.
Yeah.
He knows the hardships that I haven't learned how to handle well yet.
Yeah.
Like, he knows all of that. And so when I'm telling him to start, come with me on this unstable journey, and he's like, someone has to hold the fort down.
Yeah.
So it looked like lack of support, but really it was protection. And so I just had to get committed to building the business foundation that my business needed, and get committed to my vision of the business until it became our shared vision.
Yeah.
And once he started the business growing, and he then realized, okay, I don't want her having someone else come in, seeing all our bank accounts and everything, and she can't trust them. He protected me by joining the business. So he's always been protecting me.
Right.
And so when he joins, now it's like, okay, I trust him wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So now we can move faster.
Yeah.
Now you can see the bank accounts, you can handle payroll, because it's hard in the beginning. Like, how you going, like, I don't trust you. I'm gonna give you all my bank accounts. I'm gonna give you. He was like, no. Okay, I see she's growing. We can sustain this.
Yeah.
And it had to be his idea. So I had to show him that the business could sustain.
Yeah.
So he saw the money coming in. We got it up to where it needed to be. And then it was like, okay, now it's time to join.
Yeah.
So you got to show, don't tell. And a lot of our audience, we have women, hey, I want to invest. My husband don't see it. And I was like, so you need to invest now so he sees the benefit of investing. You invest the way he's okay with you investing. Maybe that's reading books and he sees a change in you. Maybe, like, it's all kind of things.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you start talking to him so nice that he's like, what is she doing? This is a different woman.
Yeah.
So he may not be able to commit to the version of you he's seeing now, but I bet there's a version of you he can commit to.
Right.
And so I had to become the version of me that he was willing to, like, be like, oh yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. And I'm glad he joined when he did.
Yeah.
Because if he would have joined too soon, I think it could have rocked our marriage a little bit.
Wow.
Because that instability on top of marriage and kids, and we new parents, our babies too. So all of that together may have been too much. So I think he joined at the perfect time. So I would just question, are they really not supporting, or are they protecting?
Yeah, no.
Because if they love you, they protect it.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. One of the things, though, I mean, we touched on it a little bit, but I would, be doing my insiders a disservice if we didn't talk about licensing.
Yeah.
That is the most genius part of, like, being a speaker that I've ever heard. I don't even think I've ever done it. And I've been speaking for over 10 years, and I don't think I've ever licensed, my information. Talk about the power of licensing and how can that help a speaker speak their way to cash?
Yeah, licensing is just infinitely powerful.
Yeah.
I think it's the most underutilized tool.
Yeah.
And it can be used as an upsell, as a downsell, or the main offer. So I'll give like an example of both. So let's say upsell. So let's say you're going to speak, you're talking to the organizer, and you're like, oh, okay, great, you got people all around, you want them to rewatch it. I'll give you the speech for $15,000. But if you want to license it for 30 days, we can do that for $25,000, and you have unlimited rights to the material for 30 days time. So now that's using it as an upsell. They came to you for a speech, you've upsold them on licensing. But what about as a downsell? So we have a client who was using it very creatively. So instead of, when people didn't have her budget, she would license a speech that she's already done, already has. And she's like, okay, you don't have the $15K to bring me in? Well, you can license this out for 7 days for $5K. She doesn't show up. She gives them access to a landing page, and they get to watch it for 7 days, and the page comes down.
Wow.
So that's using it as a downsell, but it can also be your main offer. There are speakers who never leave their homes and sell services. So we have a sexual harassment training, and the state laws change all the time about sexual harassment, and it's state by state. But one of our clients just licensed the rights to watch the sexual harassment training for all of his employees, up to a certain number of employees. I made it once, I get paid every month on it.
Wow.
And so that's a way to use it as your core offer.
Yeah.
But you can do that with courses, and a lot of us do it without thinking about it. But one of the mistakes I see in the industry, especially the online marketing industry, is like you create a course, unlimited access for life. And I would always be like, oh my gosh, that's like a killer.
Yeah.
Now, there may be a strategic reason why you do that, but for most people, that doesn't make sense because now you've given away your right to sell that buyer on the continued value of the product. So it's valuable the first time I watch it, but if I have the ability to watch it 1,000 times, it's infinitely more valuable.
Right.
Like the Bible, I can read the Bible once and get a little bit out of it, but I keep reading it over and over. Like I'm gonna get more out of it, and it's the same with content.
Yeah.
So for your courses, you should have a licensed rate. And so for our courses, 30-day license maybe $25, 90-day maybe $4,500, 120 days maybe $7,500, because you have the continued right to consume that content. And I can't repossess knowledge. So that's how I think of it. Like once I teach you what I tell you, I cannot go to your house in 100 years and repossess that knowledge. You keep it forever. And so I have to price for that forever potential, or for whatever duration of time you get access to the material at least.
Ooh. Powerful, powerful, y'all. Y'all need to spend the 5 days with Ashley Kirkwood. She will get your life right. Talk to them a little again about what they can experience in that 5-day challenge.
Yeah, the challenge is so good. And y'all, like we've done a lot of these challenges. It's not my first one, it's not my second one, third one. Like we're probably on our 10th challenge, right? And so day one, we're gonna cover the mindset you need to sell to large organizations. That's critical. Once you get the mindset piece, now you start seeing opportunities that you never even saw before. So all of y'all with courses are now thinking about like, oh, I done lost some money on this. We gonna go even deeper on day one of the challenge. Day two, we're gonna talk about finding your wealthy audience. You need to know where the money resides in order to find and sell to the right people. And then we're gonna talk about on day three, how to sell via LinkedIn. On day four, we're gonna cover how to sell via cold email. And then on day five, we're gonna cover how to implement so that you get results even beyond the challenge, whether you work with us or not. And so that's kind of how the 5-day challenge is set up. It's been really, really powerful, really good. And you're gonna get a really good community. Our community is off the chain. Like, I know y'all gonna be in the chat, you know? So like, the Speaker Ready Cash family is great, very encouraging. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. There is someone who started from where you're starting from who's been able to start pitching. And if you stick with us, our promise to you is in that 5 days, you will pitch. And what if that pitch leads to a contract for you? What if all it does is teaches you a skill set you never had before? That's worth 5 days because we're gonna multiply your time in that 5 days.
All right, y'all. Look, insiders, I need you to go right now. InsideYourPitch.com. I'm gonna also put the link in the description below, but InsideYourPitch.com. I know you're a premium person, so make sure you tap in, get that VIP, pick her brain, right? Pay her to pick her brain, be able to, in them 5 days, ask some questions, because I know you believe in you. You know that with all the games she just gave you, all you need is them little tweaks, them little tricks, they're gonna get you to that next level. Any last words for our insiders?
Yeah, I would say y'all gotta believe.
Yeah.
Like, if nothing else, you have to believe. Your brain has a potential to print the life that you want. But it starts with your thoughts. And those things that you think positive thoughts. Yeah. Let those thoughts cement into beliefs and then take action. Yeah. Take actions, but you have to believe. Like, your voice has power. And there are literally people somewhere on this planet just waiting for your insiders, waiting for y'all to, like, become the person that gets them the transformation, that helps them to realize what they need and care enough about those people to learn the skills to reach the audience you need to help.
Yep. There you have it, y'all. If somebody wanted to connect with you, matter of fact, y'all know, go to InsideYourPitch.com, connect with her in the challenge. But if they want to connect with you before the challenge, where can they find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me in the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. I'm always in the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group, commenting, answering questions, and also on Instagram at The Ashley Nicole Show. And Speak Your Way to Cash is all our handles, our book, our podcast, our community, our events. It's all under Speak Your Way to Cash, SpeakYourWayToCash.com.
Speak Your Way to Cash, y'all. Make sure y'all tap in. I am Ash Cash. We are closing out the vault. Another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Make sure you visit us, InsideTheVaultShow.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at Inside the Vault. I need you to rate. I need you to review. I need you to subscribe. I need you to share. I need you to make some noise about this episode and Inside the Vault in general. Me, I am Ash Cash. Make sure you visit me, IamAshCash.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. I'll see you next time for another powerful episode. Same time, same place, in God's will. All right, y'all. Peace.